Can everyone learn a second language? Have you been wondering why your classmate is good in speaking the second language and you're not? Are you even thinking that she or he got some genes that caused his talent of learning the second language? Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. This is a continuation of the topic Second Language Acquisition Theory. The five hypotheses about SLA or Second Language Acquisition were presented in the previous video, namely the acquisition learning distinction, the natural order hypothesis, the monitor hypothesis, the input hypothesis, and the affective filter hypothesis. Stephen Krashen has something to say about learning the second language. He introduced comprehensible input after years of observing how children learn foreign languages. He was trying to point out that if one learned his native tongue, then there is no reason that he cannot learn the second language. According to him, talent has nothing to do with learning languages. I repeat, talent has nothing to do with learning languages. Instead, everyone acquires language in the same way. It's a natural brain activity that is the same biological and psychological experience in every human being. I plus 1, which is the input hypothesis, was originally a theory of learning developed by the linguist Stephen Krashen in the 1970s. It basically says that learning is most effective when you meet the learner's current level and add one level of difficulty, like the next rung on a ladder. So it is like the learner has already achieved his level, so he is ready for a higher level of language learning. The causative variables. Remember the two important principles. Acquisition is more important than learning, and in order to acquire, two conditions are necessary. The first is comprehensible, or even better, comprehended input containing I plus 1 structures a bit beyond the acquirer's current level, and second, a low or weak affective filter to allow the input in. While it is true that there may be other variables that may affect the second language acquisition, the relationship can better be explained in terms of comprehensible input plus filter level. According to Krashen, comprehensible input and the strength of the filter are the good causes of second language acquisition. Language teaching, does it help? If acquisition is more central and learning of less use to second language performance, and if comprehensible input and the filter are the essential causative variables for second language acquisition. The classroom should help only to the extent it supplies comprehensible input in an environment conducive to a low filter. Krashen hypothesized that the classroom should be especially valuable for beginners, those who cannot easily utilize the informal environment for input. It will be of less value to those who can, who have other sources of comprehensible input, and who are linguistically advanced enough to take advantage of it. For beginners, language teaching helps when it is the main source of low filter comprehensible input. For foreign language students who do not have a chance to get input outside the class, it will be of less help when rich sources of input are available. Krashen presented different studies that were conducted to help us understand the impact of different variables and how the true causative variables are being proven to be effective in language acquisition. Several aspects were considered to prove Krashen's perspective regarding the true causes of second language acquisition. When language teaching helps. Here, Krashen presented different studies supporting his claim. Breyer in 1978 studied 920 Mexican or native Mexican children ages 4 to 12. The study shows that the best predictor of Spanish proficiency was attendance in class in the village school, promotoria. This supports Krashen's hypothesis, which means the promotoria was a major source of comprehensible input in Spanish. This means that the opportunities to use Spanish to outside the classroom were not plentiful. Based on the findings, other predictors were the father's ability to speak Spanish and the parents' need for Spanish. Some adult studies show fairly large positive correlation between the amount of classroom exposure to the second language and proficiency. Krashen believes that the class was the primary source of comprehensible input. There were also studies conducted that show robust correlation between reported years of formal study and performance of a variety of ESL tests. Chihara and Oller in 1978 mentioned that there was a substantial correlation between the length of formal study and second language proficiency. According to Krashen, this study shows that the classroom was the main, if not only, source of comprehensible input. Based on the findings of the different studies, language teaching helps considering the situations that were presented. Three variables were also presented by Krashen to see how comprehensible input and low effective exposure variable, age, and acculturation filter caused second language acquisition. According to Krashen, children are superior to adults only in the long run. He added that adults have more conversational competence. It is likely that older acquirers actually get more comprehended input, and this may be key factor in their fast initial progress. Adults can participate because of this, they may obtain comprehensible input. This only means that age is not the causative variable but the comprehensible input that can be accessed by the adult learners. Krashen also points out that the child's superiority in terms of second language acquisition may be due to the strengthening of the affective filter at about puberty. This only means that it is not about the age, whether a child or an adult learner, but based on the affective filter. Acculturation. Lastly, Krashen mentioned that other proponents suggest that acculturation is the major causal variable in second language. According to Schumann in 1978, second language acquisition is just one aspect of acculturation, and the degree to which the learner acculturates to the target language group will control the degree to which he acquires the target language. Krashen stated that acculturation can be viewed as a means of gaining comprehensible input and lowering affective filter. He explained that social integration with resulting context leads to comprehensible input, while the open psychological state Schumann refers to is equivalent to a low filter. Krashen also mentioned that input can be obtained with acculturation, and there are many techniques for bringing down the filter that have nothing to do with acculturation.